Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. Today we're going to talk tomahawks and similar survival tools. I got a bunch of them here right in front of me right now. I've actually got the best survival tool style tomahawks, really the best tomahawks in the world in various categories, leading designs, and the world's most effective combat fighting tomahawk as well. Two of them here on the table in front of me. Some other cool stuff, some budget friendly options, some really expensive options. Now, before you guys say these aren't tomahawks or they're not all tomahawks, let me first say and explain that one's pretty sweet, huh? A tomahawk is a derivative of the Algonquin Native American term for tool. So they originally used it to refer to anything that had basically a stone head or a copper head, because they weren't forging steel in those days, but they did have metal. It was just generally copper. And whatever the hardest hardwood they could find, probably hickory. These are definitely tomahawks by definition because they're tools. Of course, they're way more advanced now. This here is called the Combar, all right? And it's probably the most advanced modern tomahawk design, probably the most intricately built, probably has the most engineering involved, and it's probably one of the worst overall tools ever designed or produced. So it's got all kinds of stuff on it. It's basically the Swiss Army knife of tomahawks. And the little cutting face on there, I'll probably throw over some chopping tasks here at some point, but tested all these pretty extensively for the points of making the video, but we'll do definitely more extensive testing in the future. The Bone Tactical products, obviously, with the most extensive testing. Just for size comparison here, I'm gonna hold both of these in my hand and show you, Bone Tactical's smallest tomahawk versus the cutting face on this Combar. And so you can understand for size reference what I'm talking about when I say this is actually a beautiful tomahawk cutting edge. It's just too small to do anything. It's too poorly balanced to split with, even though it's designed for splitting, because very thin here, very large here. It's just too small to really cut and chop with. It does amazing for the size of it, but it just can't. The tool itself is huge, right? And just this tiny little cutting edge on there is just too small. Why did they make the cutting edge so small? Because they wanted to fit all of this stuff onto here. Let me tell you this first off. If anybody's watching this video that had anything to do with this design, beautiful design, guys. Great, amazing engineering. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, we just have a massive gap between the really smart guys who designed this and actual people that know how to use tools and know what they need in the field. So just really stinks that so much work and so much money went into something that's just such a terrible design. The handle itself is absolutely terribly uncomfortable. It's too big. Why is the handle so big? Well, there's stuff in the handle, all right, that you really shouldn't need if you have a good tomahawk. We'll get into that. The edge geometry of the front portion of this is beautiful. It's actually exactly like the Bone Hawk, and it would cut well if it was bigger. Doesn't split well because it's not heavy enough. The weight isn't it's not weight forward enough. It has too much weight in the handle. Okay, there's a hammer on here as well. There's a cutting a digging tool on the back. The digging tool is at a 90-degree angle, which stinks, all right? It should be. This should have some sort of a curve to it. It also doesn't work well because of that and won't work well because of that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a pickaxe that has a curve to it. There's a reason for that. The back of a tomahawk, a good one, it has a curve to it. There's a reason for that. It's never a 90-degree angle. It's never straight. This actually looks a little bit more than a 90-degree angle. It actually looks like it's open more than a 90-degree angle. Terrible. It's cool that they fit all this stuff on here, but they forgot that the stuff still needs to work. So there's a hammer on here. Look at this thing. this giant handle that doesn't even feel good in your hand and you can't really hold very well with this tiny little hammering. Could you imagine trying to hammer with this thing? And, oh wait, there's a hammer sticks out a little bit. Why does it do that? So it works. Guys, come on now. Beautiful engineering to be able to fit all this stuff onto here, but guys, it's not about how much crap you can cram into something, all right? It's about, geez, this is really, really tight. It's about what the tool has and what it's designed for, and it excels at doing what it does. The idea with the bone hawk is, first, it's got to be amazingly beautiful tomahawk. It's got to chop and cut and incredibly well. It's got to be used as a weapon, amazing as a weapon in close quarters, choke up grip. The rear spike has to puncture hard objects better than anything else on the market. Pry bar, it's got to be able to pry very well or we don't put the pry bar. Hooking and trapping movements with the jimping, excellent, throw it in there. Oh wait, okay, there's space for some hex tools. It's not going to take away from the design and from the function of the primary tools. That's great, let's throw those in there. You want to put a bottle opener? Okay, bottle opener doesn't hurt either. Let's throw it on there. If it takes away from the actual main purposes of the tool, don't try and put more stuff on there that makes the actual purpose of the tool less effective. Alrighty. Inside, we have a knife and a saw. So this saw is actually a great saw. It's a great saw. But you know what? It's not a great saw handle. And you know what more? It's just a cheap Bosch tree saw. Amazing. It's a great tree saw. Bosch does a good job. They know what they're doing. These guys didn't make the Bosch tree saw that works well, or whatever Sawzall type blade. Bosch makes that. These guys made this non-ergonomic, really uncomfortable, something that would destroy your hand if you actually had to cut a tree with it, and a locking mechanism that doesn't stay tight. Okay? Super cool, super trendy. But if it doesn't work, there's no point. Look how fancy and flashy this knife is. Oh, okay. Acclimate, by the way, is who makes the Combar. A-C-L-I-M with the number 8. Knife's not sharp, by the way. Come on, guys, do better. Do better, Acclimate. Really fancy, you know, great engineering, like I said. But impossible to carry comfortably and no ergonomics at all. Zero ergonomics on either one of these things here. So, super expensive and not worth much. Very small value. That's basically the Combar. Yeah, you have all of this stuff. You have a pickaxe on the back that doesn't work very well. You have a tree saw that you could have a reciprocating saw and it would be amazing. Or just have the blade by itself because that's about what you get from that crazy handle. Tiny little axe head, or you could just have a few tools in a bag and it would not take up much more space and it would actually work and be there and be comfortable to use and help you survive if you needed it. So what so many people don't understand. This is just a big bulky thing that has all this stuff on it. But the Swiss Army knife approach is very rarely the right approach for tools. A good tool is a good tool. It's not usually great at everything, okay? It's specified. You guys have seen tons of videos on the Bone Tactical Tomahawks. So let's continue on with this Kova Blackthorn, okay? Now, this tomahawk, it chops well. All right, it doesn't have a sharpened beard, which is another thing you want to look for. That's a plus. It's got like a seatbelt cutter on there, which is definitely a negative because why? Because I want the back, if it has a rear spike on it, I want to be able to puncture with the rear spike. The handle has this forward swing to it here, which lends well to when I'm chopping this way, but takes away from the rear spike. Okay, so if I'm puncturing something, I'm gonna have a hard time doing it now because of the fact that the handle here is bowed. And it's not just bowed a little bit, it's bowed a lot. Not a great design, not a good idea to do that when you want to have a tool that can be used both ways, because now I'm actually, look how this is close to my face just holding it normally. Swings forward now, and it's great forward, but now it makes the back very difficult to use. What the heck is this? Why is this spiked at the top? Why is that going? What is this used for? Nothing. It's useless. There's no reason for this. In fact, takes away from the tool. Now we've got 2 points right here, this thing and this thing, that if I actually am penetrating something hard with this, what's going to happen? It's going to get stuck in whatever I'm penetrating. You don't want that. What does the perfect arc spike look like on the back of a tomahawk for penetration? Quickly penetrating and removing, penetrating and removing. That's what it looks like. It looks like a bone hawk, all right? Science, guys. Now, does it have a choked up grip? No, I probably would not be able to use the tomahawk in this position. Very unfortunate. Means I can only use it for here. Takes a lot of the bushcraft and survival tasks throws them away. No, there's no fine. I can't use this for whittling and stuff like that just because it would hurt my hand. Furthermore, it's not a well-built tool. Why do I say that? Well, when we look at a tool, we don't want to see sharp edges, okay? We want to see chamfers, all right? Even if it was machine made, they should still be able to put chamfers on the edges here. They're sharp. The edges are sharp all over. I just poked myself on this thing on my finger, all right? Down here, everything is sharp, all right? There's a little bit of a chamfer from here to here, but this should have a chamfer as well. All right, there is a chamfer on this part. Okay, the chamfer goes from here to here. It should have more of a chamfer. All right, it's got a cutting edge on the top, which can be kind of dangerous, but it's kind of cool too. Why? Because if I swing through and miss, I can come back and thrust. I can thrust with this tomahawk and I can cut. So that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. The face of this is very, very weaponized. It doesn't cut wood as well as something like this would. Okay, it would probably throw good because of that point right there. So that's a plus if you like throwing your tomahawk. And, you know, it's very thin. All right, I would say that the profile's too thin for something that I would want to be considered strong. It's not going to be strong. I'm not going to be able to do any prying with it. I did some chopping with it today, and there's no edge damage whatsoever. As far as the edge goes, it didn't come extremely sharp. It came sharper than other tomahawks sometimes come, but it didn't lose any edge. So it's holding a good edge so far. The handle is not terrible. It's relatively ergonomic handle. It is a little thicker here, which is nice, so it doesn't want to swing out of my hand. I was pleasantly surprised with chopping with this, and I think for the price point, it's a decent tomahawk. It is full tang. It's all metal. It's not going to be crazy tough, but it's going to be better than something, you know, like a SOG or a Cold Steel. It's going to be probably a little bit of an improvement over those guys, right? It's just as far as production quality goes. Now, I do like it, you know, as far as the weight goes. The carry option it has a good carry option. All right, so this is going to be it's a pretty good tomahawk. As far as a production tomahawk goes, not a custom, it's going to be pretty good. As far as the design, the things that need to be improved are this rear section here needs to be improved. You know, this is sticks out of the bottom of the sheath. I don't want this is gonna, you know, damage if I stick it in my backpack, whatever. I don't want that. I don't want all this sharp stuff here. Of course, I was the guy who designed and invented the choked up grip on the tomahawk, so I'm not gonna tell them to do that because then they'd be copying my tomahawk design. Everybody else in the industry's pretty much already copied my choke up grip. Everybody, after seeing the Bone Hawk back in 2013 come out with a choke up grip option, everybody and their brother, all the major tomahawk makers followed suit. Not one of them gave me credit for it. That's fine. I'm just doing this to make great tools. I'm not doing it for recognition. So I do want to mention that though, that that's one of the best things about the Bone Hawk right there, is the fact that you can use it up here. Close quarters combat, it's less likely to get taken from me. I just throw a punch normally. Okay, if I'm farther away, I can even, you know, just readjust and have more power in that swing there. Flipping it backwards, there's obviously no bend in the handle, so it's usable both ways equally when I need to use it. Bottle opener, we discuss a lot of this stuff in other videos, and we do discuss a lot of this stuff in other videos, so, you know, stuff that you guys can see and understand. The coolest thing, though, is that if you really just want crazy power from a tomahawk, then you just take it one step further and you go to the bone breacher. Now, this bad boy is just that. It is it's astronomically different. I'll put over the cutting test here. Chopping with this thing is like chopping with an axe. And it's not so big that you can't use it with one hand. You can still use it with one hand. It's not even so big that you can't carry it if you absolutely had to. But it's just crazy, crazy powerful. It's absolutely as big as it gets and can still be a tomahawk. Anything bigger is definitely an axe. And this is a man's tomahawk here, guys. It's not it is big. It's pushing the limit. If you're a small man, you may not be able to handle this thing very well. But it has all the same features as the Bone Hawk. Still has your choked up grip options in here. It still has the tail spike. Same thing, great for penetrating, removing, and penetrating and removing. It's the same design, just on steroids, basically. Giant, okay? Has all your extra features in there for hex tools. Those are really just for lightening the tool. And if you do actually happen to run across one of those hex sizes, cool. People have used them for that. I did remove the bottle opener from this one because you don't want more tools. You want more effective tools. And this one's probably even more likely to be used as a pry bar, okay? And if I'm prying a lot with this and I don't have gloves on, I may not want that bottle opener. So I think with the smaller tomahawk, it's not as big of a deal. It really has never bothered me. But with the big one, I think we want to just go streamlined, hardcore. Of course, the nail puller is bigger, pry bar bigger. Okay, this is longer. It fits, you know, in door jams. Anything you want to pry with it, great. So as a survival tool goes, it can be used in a lot of different variety of tasks. I guess the last thing that I want to say is, you know, you definitely want to look into your metallurgy, because chopping with these other tools is just not as comfortable as a Bone Hawk. And why is that? The Bone Hawk has a handle that's like 20 Rockwell, let's say, in these particular models that I'm holding right here. They've all the different models, we're always advancing, always changing, always trying to better everything we do. They're triple hardened, okay? So that means it's hard here, here, and here, but we don't harden anything in the shaft, which means that the shaft is soft, not mild steel. It's soft, it's chromoly 4140 steel, but it's in an annealed state. Has a factor of shock absorption because it's not stiff, okay? The points are, but what happens when I'm whacking stuff with this, it doesn't go bing and shake my whole body. It doesn't want to give me carpal tunnel syndrome in my wrists from using it all the time. It's comfortable to use. That and the micarta handles are just very nice. The wood ones as well. This jimping on the side, it's not going to slip out of my hand, but it's still comfortable to hold and use. You want to look at coatings as well. All right, this has a very, very, very tough, very protective coating, so I don't have to worry about it rusting if I forget to oil it. It's naturally camouflaged in the Modern Warrior version. It's natural colors, easily camouflaged. If I wanted to camouflage it more, I can spray some more colors on there. Camouflage colors. We want to look at production quality. These handles are tougher than other handles. They're permanently fixed. They're not going to fall off, crack, swell, anything like that. Just a tool for longevity. So if I'm thinking survival and I want a survival tool, I want something that works. I want something that does what I want it to do or what it's supposed to do very well. I want something that's going to last me for a lifetime. I know that it's going to last for a lifetime. I don't want something like this thinner tool that's going to bend. I don't want something like this Combar that does a bunch of crap but doesn't do anything well and it's just really awkward, doesn't fit the hand well, nothing like that. No, if I want to cut, if I want something I can use in self-defense, even less lethal self-defense, once I put the sheath on this, it's a great less lethal self-defense tool. If I want something I know is going to puncture a Kevlar helmet when I got to swing it, or it's going to get maximum depth, window breaking, whatever I swing this, I know that the spike is going to work. It's not going to get caught in anything, so I lose my Tomahawk. Okay, so when I want a survival tool, I want the best at what I'm looking for. And when I get a Tomahawk, I want a modern combat Tomahawk that does what I want it to. If it can, there's no reason it can't do great bushcraft tasks as well. This is not a hatchet, okay? It's not specifically designed for camping. It's a Tomahawk. It's a tool like the Algonquins so many years ago used for everything from war fighting, self-defense, making war, combat as they knew it back then, but all the way through farming, digging up dirt, okay? If I want a tool I can do everything with, and it's a Tomahawk that can do everything with, this is what I'm picking. So I want to be able to do as much as possible without taking away from the tool, and I want something that's going to last me a long time, all right? 1,000 years from now, there's going to be bone hawks in some museum somewhere, and they're going to talk about how during that time, the metallurgy processes were so far ahead of their time, right? That's what I make my tools for, to give that unfair advantage. If it says bone on it, you know you can trust it. Thanks for watching. Bone out.